Yeah, so I'm currently rereading Stephen King's book of short stories, The Bazaar of Bad Dreams. I read this one before, back when it first came out in a hardcover, and I'm going back through it again. And I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it. So first off, the bad, these are like some of the weirdest stories King has published. They're very good, they're very well written, but they're very strange. The premise to these stories are largely very peculiar. There's one story in here about a kid who writes fictitious obituaries about people and then ends up actually killing them for some reason. There's another story in here set like in the Dakotas in the 1880s about a young man who is accused of raping and killing a little girl and who adamantly denies it up and down, and all the townspeople don't believe him except this one character. And at the end of the story, it's proven he actually did the act, and the main character's just stunned, like, I can't believe I believed this guy. There's another story in here about, it's all like a novella length story about a professor who hates like modern technology and Kindles and shit, and how he thinks everybody should just be reading books like in physical form, and who kind of starts changing his mind when his girlfriend breaks up with him for being so stubborn. So he gets a Kindle, and it's a very special Kindle, and it turns out it has novels that don't necessarily exist in our universe on it. There's like a John Steinbeck novel that shouldn't exist in our reality, but does on this Kindle, and some Ernest Hemingway and John D. MacDonald novels that come up that apparently are from some alternate timeline, and he has like this wealth of material to read, and he's like, oh my god, these, like, I can't believe it, like, I've hit the literary jackpot. But then like these series of events start spiraling out of control, and he has to like clean up the mess that he started by interfering with these things, and he gets some unearthly visitors at the end of the story. It's a very weird story, but very good. It's actually like my favorite in this collection. It's called it's like spelled U-R. King actually originally wrote it in a Kindle format for like Amazon. There's another story in here called Drunken Fireworks. It's like a dark comedy story about like this poor family in Maine that keeps trying to outdo the rich neighbors across the lake every summer for their fireworks display, and they get like bigger and bigger. There's a comical story in here called Afterlife about a guy who like dies and goes to like this purgatory state place with this guy smoking a cigar and wearing a suit, like, welcome to the afterlife. It's nothing like you expect. So it's just a very weird very weird book. It's also one of King's darkest books. The stories in here are all very dark. Some of them are comically dark, some of them are just straightforward, dramatically dark, but they're very dark. And King definitely knows how to write dark, and he knows how to write dark well. He knows that the reason that these stories work is because he's holding up a mirror to all of us, and in our deepest, most secret selves, that we are capable of any of the horrible shit these characters do. And and he holds up a mirror to people and to reality in these stories, and that's what good art does. Is, you know, no matter how strange or fantastic it is, all good art has some basis in reality and reflects to us the world in a new way. You know, whether it's in like very realistic writing like Jonathan Franzen or Raymond Carver, or if it's in the fantasy work of people like Terry Pratchett or Neil Gaiman. They're showing us the world back to us in a either straightforward way or through a funhouse fantasy kind of way. I highly recommend this book. It's very good. That goes without saying. King is a master. He's one of the best writers of all time, and he's certainly an American, treasure. Fuck all the people who say he just writes genre fiction. There's so many people that, are considered classics that King is much better than, in my opinion. And years from now, 60, 70, 80 years from now, King will be taught in classrooms. Future like literary students are going to be studying this guy the way we're currently studying, Henry James or Edgar Allan Poe. He's a real writer, and I I hate how people just kind of sweep, people who write horror or science fiction or fantasy or something under the rug as unworthy of attention or critical study. But the stories in here, some of them actually are kind of more in the literary tradition, and they're very good, and they're just as good as the more kind of like horror-based ones. There's one story in here I like. It's more kind of a classic genre story, and it's about like this little kid who, this guy is like in prison trying to kill this kid, and this detective is like, why is he doing this? And then the more he starts to find out about this kid, the more he's like some kind of evil entity that needs to be put down. And the story ends with the detective guy being like, "Oh, he's following me now, and I gotta stop him." It's very good. It's good stuff. It's a very bizarre book. These stories, like I said, have some strange premises, but I like that it's kind of a hodgepodge. It's kind of just a sampler of different kind of modes that King writes in. There's very brief character sketches in here. There's average length short stories. There's the aforementioned novella about the strange Kindle that the professor has. There's even a couple of poems in here. King himself is not much of a poet. He has said this. He says he writes a lot of it, but he doesn't think he's good, so he doesn't publish a lot of it. And so when I get to read a poem by him, which is very rare, it's a very good treat. So there's not one, but 2 poems in this. And King has, in my 40-year career, only published a few poems. So it's kind of cool to see that kind of side of him, since he's mostly known for writing stories in paragraphs rather than verses. Definitely can't go wrong with this one. I just wanted to do a video talking about why I like it and why it's interesting. I really like one story in here called Premium Harmony, and it's terrible, but it's funny in a dark way, and it's about death and this couple and how one of them dies. The other's just like so like uncaring and browbeaten at this point that they have a very blasé reaction to it, and that's tragic, but it's also funny in the way it's written and described. That's again relatable. That's that's how people are. All of us, no matter how much we don't care to admit it, can relate to that. All of us could be in that position. All of us could be married to someone for several years, 30, 50 years, and they may not be the best person, and they may make us unhappy, and that happiness could build into resentment, and that resentment could build into a quiet dislike or hate of that person, to the point to where that could realistically happen. So, dark as that is, as tragic as that is, as horrible as that is, that's us, and these stories reflect that. And much like all of King's writings, there's all of us held up to ourselves, and that's what makes King great, and that's what makes these stories great. So definitely check out The Bazaar and Bad Dreams. I highly recommend it. If you like short stories, if you like Stephen King, then this is definitely a good one to go with. And if you haven't read King before, this is actually a pretty good introduction to his work. I always say start with the short stuff and then go to the novels when it comes to King. But anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I have a lot more free time now, so I'm trying to post more videos more often. So maybe the next few days I'll try to have one up a day or something, to make up for kind of how busy I've been lately. But thanks for watching. I'll try to have a video up soon, and I swear to God, I'm trying to work on the Trigun video. Also, considering starting a Patreon if anyone's interested in supporting this channel so I can do this full time and I don't have to worry about a fucking job getting in the way of it. Help support me to do this full time, and that way I can get things out to you guys. And I just posted on this channel in the discussion part a explanation of what I would do with the money and things I would like to do for this channel, how I'd like to expand and grow it, and things I would like to work on besides just improving these reviews. I want to do better reviews. I want to do longer reviews. I want to do video essays, short films, some experimental art pieces with film, documentaries, and even hopefully some feature-length stuff soon. I have it all planned in my head. I just gotta have the money and the time to work on these things. So with your help, I would be able to write, shoot, edit, and post these videos much more faster and grow this channel in ways that I think would be really cool. So if that sounds like something you guys would be interested in, let me know if I should. Let me know if you guys would be interested. I don't know, and even if I don't do Patreon, maybe I'll set up like a PayPal account for them, for people who feel like funneling money into this any way they can to keep this going. So I'm an aspiring YouTuber. I'm small, but I want to grow, and it's only through you guys that I can. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You guys are amazing. And please be honest. If you don't think I should do this, or if I suck too much at this, let me know. Or if you think, hey, I like your stuff, you have potential, you're not great now, but you could grow, set that baby up. Let me know that too. But it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I kind of want to be a little more professional about it. Even if I do have to get, a day job and do Patreon, that would still be money I could be using to work on this more and not have to worry about the other as much. So, thanks. Bye.